In this video, I'm going to compare two different height chairs. I was trying to figure out which one I should get for my kid. So I decided to buy both, try them both out, see which one I like better, and then return the one that I don't want. So I have the Graco Duodiner DLX and the Kinder King's convertible high chair. So these are similar high chairs in certain factors and different in other ways. So I'm going to show you some similarities, some differences, and show you why I like each one. So the Graco one costs closer to $190, whereas the Kinder King's one is around $90. So it's almost double the price. So let me show you. The Kinder Kids one doesn't have any name or logo or anything here, whereas the Graco one is right over here. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the general footprint. So you can see where the legs are. You see I had them both lined up, and they both take up approximately the same amount of space. This one has a little, the Graco one has a little different, layout for the frame, whereas, so it doesn't take up as much space that way, whereas the Kinder Kids one goes straight up. These are both on the highest setting, right? So the Graco one fits island height, whereas the Kinder Kids one only fits table height. So, it's got about a 3-inch difference or so there, but that can make a difference on your layout. The Graco one, I already took off the leg rest, because I was getting ready to return it, but this basically sticks in right over here, and it just goes straight down. The Kinder Kids one, it's got a adjustment right here. You could tilt it the way you want, so it could go straight down, but it could also go up to different positions like that, so depending on how you want it, to help keep your kid inside. They both feature removable trays, or removable upper trays. So here's the upper tray for the Graco one, and this one, it's the same idea. It removes over here. So this one is a smaller tray. I'm just going to put it right on top to show you kind of how it looks. So it's about 5 inches difference over here. Maybe like an inch, probably like an inch or so over here. And just showing you the general layout. So they both have the same kind of oval shape. To help bring it in close to your kid. So I purposely wanted a smaller one because I felt that this Graco tray was a little hard to wash in my sink. It was a little big and bulky, whereas this one, it's a little smaller. It's easier to use, easier to wash. This one's got like a little of a high gloss finish, which you may or may not like. It's a personal preference. So the Graco one, the reason why I really didn't like it is you see over here, it gets dirty very easily. It's very hard to wash. You kind of have to like take out all the straps and pull it off, then wash it down in the sink, and then gotta wait for it to dry. It's kind of annoying. It's really why I decided to return the Graco one. It was just too hard to keep clean. It was always dirty. This one, it's a lot more of a modern finish. It's got a PU or fake leather, so it's black. It's cushioned. It's got a lot nicer cushion, and it just wipes down. You can just take a wet paper towel, wash it down, and then just dry it. It's easy to use. The reason why I didn't like it is you can see these straps. See the strap? It just like pulls out very easily. When my kid like pulls forward, it just moves with him kind of. It doesn't really hold in place like it should. So that's why I really didn't like this one. I'm probably going to end up returning it also and look for something else that's a little better for that. This one, you can see it's a lot tighter, a lot harder to move, so it doesn't really move with your kid. This one comes with covers for the strap. I took one off just so you can see the difference. Yeah, I don't like this design. It's too like old-fashioned for me. It would be nice if this one had the covers to the straps, but it doesn't. Another thing that I like about the buckle, so the Kinder Kids buckle, they're both 5-point harnesses, but this one has a clip over here, so that means you got one part on this side and one part on this side in order to connect it to this belt buckle. Whereas on the Graco one, let me just pop this open. It's got these separate pieces. So first you have to slide that on and then buckle it in. So it just gets a little more annoying when you're trying to buckle your kit into place. The Graco one, it's got this one-handed piece over here, so I'm just going to show you the bottom so you kind of see how it works. So when you squeeze this, it opens on the sides. Right, so it's a cool mechanism, because it lets you kind of like do things like one-handed when you're trying to balance your baby. A little hard to do with with one hand, but it's to pick it up. It's easy to do one-handed. Whereas the Kinder Kids one, it's got brackets on both sides, so it's got like one over here, then another one on this side, and you have to kind of do them both at the same time. Two separate hands in order to do it. So I'm just showing you the bottom. See how that looks. So this is what I was doing. So one on each side. It's got multiple positions to clip into, so you can kind of see there, or whoops. Over here, it just clips along over here. When you put it into storage, so one thing I like about the Kinder Kids is you can press this down on both sides. It helps everything get a lot more compact than the Graco version. So you gotta obviously do this two-handed. But so this part folds down, and then when you press these in, you could fold it flat. So here's both of them folded out flat. So I like the Kinder Kids version a lot better because you see, because it's got that foldable arm design, it really pushes back a lot more than the Graco version. This is, I don't know what this is, maybe 8 inches, whereas the Graco is probably over a foot. And you can see the bottom footprint, you see how close they are together, whereas over there it's a lot further apart. So they both are self-standing, but the Kinder Kids really one is a lot slimmer, a lot more low profile in a way. They both go up and down. It's got about 5 different height settings to go lower. I honestly never really use those because I'm always using to feed my kid by a table, so it's always high up. The other things are what they call 2-in-1s, etc. Or 3-in-1 or 4-in-1s. The Graco one, they call it a 6-in-1. So as a basic height chair, they're very similar. I explained the differences between them. The Graco one offers more features, which the Kinder Kids doesn't. So what really boils down to is, do you want these extra features? Do you care for them? And is it worth paying extra for them? So the big differences are basically this chair could come out and function as a separate booster chair that goes onto another chair. Right, so when it's lifted out, this is how it is. You can mount it onto another chair. You see it's got these parts on the bottom that will come out, and you stand them up on the side, and you get a separate chair that'll latch onto a chair, kind of like a separate booster. So if you want to put it by your kitchen island and put it on a bar stool or some other chair, that could work. This also functions as a separate chair. So you kind of have 2 separate things. You can use it for 2 separate kids. When a kid gets older, this could be a separate chair. Personally, I have no use for this. I got bar stools by my island. That's what I'm going to use. When my kid's old enough, they're going to use it. They go up and down. They adjust it. So I really have no use for these extra features. So for me, it doesn't mean anything. But obviously, for someone who cares about them, these 2-in-1, 3-in-1, 4-in-1, 5-in-1, etc. That can make a difference for your use. What I'm comparing really is the 2 high chairs as functioning as a basic straight up height chair. So the main difference is the height and the design, more modern versus a little more old fashioned, the ease of buckling, and the ease of cleaning. So these are the 2 major differences. And how compact it is, how easy it is to fold up and have it out of the way while you're trying to get everything else clean. One other thing I didn't mention was the wheels. So the Graco one's got nice big wheels on the front. So you kind of have to lift it from the back, and then it moves very easily. The Kinder Kids one, actually, it's got the wheels hidden in the back. So usually I'll just lift it from the tray, but basically you can lift it from the front and pull it and move it. So two different mechanisms, whether you want to go to the back to move or move it from the front. So that's the Graco Duodiner DLX 6-in-1 high chair. Where they say seats 2 kids at once because it's got all those different features. It's got that machine washable cover as opposed to the one that just wipes down easily. So, I'm kind of torn between the two. I definitely don't like the Graco one because it gets dirty too easily. The Kinder Kids one, I like a lot of things about it. Just that buckle thing is really annoying. I feel like it gets too loose. So I'm going to look to see if I can find something else, maybe a third option. But for now, I'm going to stick with the Kinder Kids. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.